This is SportsCenter right now. I'm Antonieta Collins. Who needs reality TV when you have the NFL draft? The first round is in the books. The quarterback frenzy in full swing last night with 5 QBs taken in the first round, and leave it to the Cleveland Browns to surprise the NFL world. Baker Mayfield became the first walk-on selected first overall in the common draft era. The Browns took the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, making him the oldest player selected first overall since Eli Manning in 2004. The Jets used the third overall pick on Sam Darnold. He's the first offensive player the Jets have taken in the first round since another USC QB, Mark Sanchez, in 2009. The Bills traded up to 7 to grab Wyoming quarterback Josh Allen. He's the highest drafted player in Wyoming history, and he's the first top 10 QB Buffalo has selected in the common draft era. Rounding out the top 10 picks is Josh Rosen. He's heading to Arizona after the Cardinals traded up. Rosen was the highest selected UCLA QB since Troy Aikman in 1989. And the final pick of the first round late last night was 2016 Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson, who will head to Baltimore to join Joe Flacco and the Ravens. Of course, 4 of those QBs were selected in the top 10, the first time that's happened in the common draft era, and every quarterback you see here, besides Baker Mayfield, was selected as the result of a team trading up to get him. Now, let's get back to First Take.
Tony, thanks. Quick recap here. Mayfield is a Brown, Darnold a Jet, Allen a Bill, Rosen Cardinal, and Jackson a Raven. I just want to mention quick next, I thought Susie Colbert did a phenomenal job with the interview with Josh Allen after he was drafted as well. Obviously, she's always a pro.
Yes, she's always a pro.
Max.
She's always a pro.
Yeah, for sure. Did the quarterbacks land where they were supposed to?
Just about exactly, with one exception, and even then it's understandable. Baker Mayfield to the Browns I love because I think he's the most ready to play. If you listen to Lincoln Riley, he was talking about, when asked, he had more responsibility in that air raid offense than quarterbacks do, most quarterbacks do in the NFL. I think Baker Mayfield is much more ready to play actually than any of the others if you change the offense for him. And what do the Browns have to lose? So I love the fact that this was a brave kind of draft insofar as you can apply courage to NFL front offices, because teams said, that's the guy. We've identified him. We don't care about draft value. We want to make sure we get him, and they took him with the first pick. I think it works. Darnold to the Jets makes sense because the Jets can be a little more patient as they're building with a run offense, all that, and develop Darnold a little more, who might be a very good quarterback for some time and has the fewest kind of checks against him. He's the one who seems to check all the boxes, but I actually think is a little less ready to play than Baker Mayfield. I thought Mayfield was the best guy in the draft, so I like Darnold to the Jets. You think about Josh Allen to the Bills. Right, you want a big cold weather kind of guy, and there was value there at that spot, at that pick. They move up to get him. I think it's a good fit. There's upside there. And finally, Josh Rosen to Arizona. From a warm weather place to another warm weather place, a guy who also is going to have a little time because there are a couple quarterbacks there already. And if you think of Arizona quarterbacks in recent years, Carson Palmer, Sam Bradford, they're kind of statues, right? They don't move very well, but they're kind of classic tall quarterbacks who can deliver the ball down the field, pocket passers, and Rosen fits that description. The only one, Stephen A., to me, that wasn't right on the money was Lamar Jackson. A better fit for him would have been New Orleans from Lamar Jackson's point of view. New Orleans with Drew Brees and Sean Payton, that would have been really good for Lamar Jackson. But listen, Davenport, the defensive end that they got, to me, to my eye, I don't see where Chubb is better than him, at least not when I watch video. And so they got a steal there. I see why they went in that direction. That's the only place where I'm like, it would have been nice for Lamar Jackson to wind up in New Orleans. Otherwise, I think it shook down really well.
Well, the operative word is should, which is why I disagree with you on several fronts. Baker Mayfield, no knock against him. I've been raving about the guy for a while, talking about the 83 touchdowns and just 14 interceptions over the last 2 years, going to the playoffs both years, the last 2 years rather, being a walk-on on 2 occasions, winning a Heisman, being a runner-up as well. This guy has been sensational as far as I'm concerned. He's a winner everywhere. But because of all in terms of checking all the boxes, I think that when you're the #1 overall pick, you need to. I don't think that I think there needs to be minimal risk and greater reward. And that's not what we can say about Baker Mayfield at this particular moment in time. So I didn't like him at Cleveland. I would have preferred to see him fall to the New York Jets at 3. I thought Sam Darnold would have been the safer pick for Cleveland at number 1. And so for me, I look at it from that position. I would have flip-flopped. Darnold would have been 1. Baker Mayfield would have been number 3. I don't have any problem with Josh Allen at number 7 because I think you're absolutely right in terms of his size, big arm, what have you, cold, inclement weather. Definitely you want somebody like Josh Allen there. When I look at a Lamar Jackson, I love the fact that he is with the Ravens because I am no fan of Flacco. I never have been. I know he's not a scrub. I know he can play, but my God, is he a disappointment on too many occasions. There are just too many times when he has an opportunity to be that difference maker and he just doesn't get it done. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I love the fact that Baltimore gets cold too. Baltimore's got a bunch of rough riders on their squad. They like a quarterback who's a dual threat. They don't mind a quarterback being able to run the football, and that certainly has not been Joe Flacco throughout his career. And obviously, he's entering the last year of his contract. He's got like 1 year left. So I love the fact that Ozzie Newsome, one of the great executives in the history of this sport, who, by the way, is entering the last year of his tenure in Baltimore. I love the fact that he made this kind of move. I love the idea of Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. And then, of course, as it pertains to Josh Rosen in Arizona, like I said, I think the kid can play. Please don't get me wrong. I'm in no way implying that he can't play. But I'm saying in a sport like football, it's so violent, you cannot be running your mouth. So I like the fact that he's in Arizona because I think somebody like Larry Fitzgerald will be there, teaching him how to be a bit more media savvy and to know when to be quiet. And I think in this particular instance, I'm not one to, who the hell am I to tell somebody to be quiet? But this is what I do for a living. In his case, he's playing football, and he's a relatively slim dude who has had 2 concussions, and he's going to get knocked upside his head. So you're going to have cats going at him just to shut him up. He's got to be careful.
And they'll get David Johnson back too. Max, I want to get your thought on Lamar Jackson, though, because I think this is interesting. Obviously, Flacco's more of a pocket passer, and we know the Ravens were kind of known for their running game as well, that zone blocking scheme. They were always notorious for that. He's 33 years old, so now they bring in Lamar Jackson, a running quarterback. They also brought in RG3. I guess, do you like that they're kind of changing things here, and how quickly do you think he's going to start?
Well, right. Well, Flacco's contract's up in, a year? So that looks like that's what they're saying with this Lamar Jackson pick. And I think to Stephen A's point, Ozzie Newsome did a great job. What a thing to do as a last draft, to get the first tight end off the board and the Heisman Trophy winner, the last pick in the first round, a guy with as much potential as anyone, maybe more potential than anyone. I'm not talking about from Ozzie Newsome and the Ravens' point of view. I'm talking about from Lamar Jackson's point of view. If you're rooting for his success, would there be a better situation than to hold the clipboard for Drew Brees for a year or two under Drew Brees, learn from him and Sean Payton? I just think, what scenario gives Lamar Jackson the best chance to be the best version of himself, which could be a phenomenal, unique kind of quarterback? And I would say the Saints. The reason I'm not stuck on that, though, is because Davenport, I think, was a totally underrated defensive player and a beast. And they picked him up. And everyone's talking about Chubb and so much better than all the other defensive ends. I'm just not sure about that. When you just watch video, Davenport looks athletically as good as anyone to me and comes with the same kind of ferocity at the quarterback. I don't know. So I like that pick. I'm just from Lamar Jackson's point of view, or from a fan of his point of view, I really would have liked to see him on the Saints.
John Harbaugh's no slouch, though. I still think he's going into a good situation there as well, and has
he's going into a very good situation. And not only that, I think it's even better because Drew Brees, to me, is such a stud. He might have agreed to 2 more years, and he told me personally he's just going to take it year to year. But still in all, he might be around for a little bit. Joe Flacco, his time is running out. So we see Lamar Jackson sooner than later now that he's in Baltimore.
All right, guys, let's take a quick break from the draft.
Joe Flacco's on the clock.
No question. We got playoffs to get into.
Max with the last word.
Still to come. John Wall was confident after Game 5 that he could will his Wizards to a Game 7 with the Raptors. If he can win tonight, will Max be worried about his pick to come out of the Eastern Conference? And LeBron had to put his squad on his back to get the dub in Game 5, but does he have enough in the tank to do it one more time? We discuss Game 6 next.
Sitting at my house.
If you had the Mona Lisa in your possession and the insurance premiums were $10 million a year, you still pay the premium.
What?
Of course I made business decisions.
I don't have global entry yet.
Golden Corral is off the hook with the ultimate lunch just $6.99 when you buy a drink. Texas barbecue beef, boneless wings, and more. It is on, but it won't last long. The $6.99 ultimate lunch. Your choice rules.
Some things should never change, like the crisp, cold refreshment of Busch.